What's up, guys? Koma here. Today I am covering the Warlock Prismatic build that I've been kind of hinting at and have said before in my previous video. Well, not my previous video, but my previous build video that I was going to cover. And here we are. I got the bond. It's a few days later, primarily because every single time I think I've recorded this section of the video, my audio has just not recorded properly each time. So here's the open. This is the correct one this time. But that being said, we are covering a Prismatic Warlock with the exotic bond with Spirit of Inmost Light and Spirit of Synthesis. Inmost Light here is going to empower each other abilities. So basically, if we throw a grenade, it's going to empower the other two abilities and grants them improved energy regeneration, as well as Syntheseps improves melee damage when you're surrounded. So basically, Inmost is basically just going to feed more into our Transcendence playstyle, and Spirit of Syntheseps is going to be increasing our melee damage of Lightning Surge. So Lightning Surge got a big buff, which is a whole 30% damage increase to all enemies across the board, as well as the thing actually giving you Bolt Charge whenever you're striking enemies. It does say within the patch notes that they removed the amplified on cast, which I don't think is true. I think you still become amplified on casting Lightning Surge. And we're pairing this with Feed the Void. So if we get any kill with Lightning Surge or any ability like that, it's actually going to grant us Devour, and it's going to grant us Grenade Energy and restoring our health. And because we're also using Feed the Void, Devour is enhanced even further beyond, because Warlocks get special access to the enhanced Devour. We're running this with Cold Snaps and Arcane Needle. Arcane Needle allows us to hold even more melee charges, so you're going to see in the gameplay I'm going to be spamming Lightning Surges a ton thanks to Arcane Needle's charges. And if I'm here running Song of Flame, you can run whatever you want here. The only reason I'm running Song of Flame is Harmonic Siphon on the armor mods, which I'll talk about later. But yeah, I'm running Song of Flame here, but you're welcome to run like Nova Bomb or even Needle Storm. It's up to you. Fragments, we are running Facet of Balance. Rapidly defeating targets with light damage grants melee energy, and rapidly defeating targets with darkness grants grenade energy. We're mainly using this to feed back into our melee charge. So once Lightning Surge gets multiple kills, it's going to feed more into our melee, and it kind of loops around on itself pretty well. Facet of Awakening, rapidly defeating targets with light or darkness damage or super final blows generates elemental pickup of the matching damage type. I'm mainly running this for the Ionic Trace that Lightning Surge would actually be giving, because that's a 12.5% energy to both grenade and melee, and I think it's a 15% to your class ability, which we're actually running Phoenix Dive here. I forgot to talk about that, but you can run Rift if you want, but Phoenix Dive has a lower cooldown than both Rifts, so that's why I'm running it. Faceted Devotion, defeating targets afflicted with stasis or stranding buffs grants bonus light transcendence energy. Not too necessary here. You could technically swap this one out, as long as you're running something like Tenacious Mastery, or if you have a scatter signal here, that could work too. But for the sake of this build, we're running this because we specifically are also comboing this with Facet of Courage, versus your Arc, Solar, and Void abilities deal increased damage to targets afflicted with Stasis Darkness debuffs, which includes Slow, Freeze, Sever, Suspend, and Unravel. And thanks to our Cold Snaps, we can actually freeze targets. And thanks to some of the artifact stuff we'll go over, if you're lucky enough to unravel, or if you have Chill Clip, that'll also count. So again, we're going to be doing more damage, completely for free. And then Facet of Protection. While surrounded by combatants, you're more resistant to incoming damage. While Transcendence, this effect is increased. So basically, it's just allowing us to be more tanky whenever we're surrounded. And of course, we have our typical Transcendence and our Freezing Singularity. So that'll also apply a stasis effect. So that's also really convenient. Going over into our weapons, really, this will be personal choice. These will change depending on how you are wanting to play the subclass. Right now, I think in the gameplay, you'll see me run Tanasha's Mastery. Not this specific role, but this is the role I just got. Thank the Lord that I actually got this before it went away. But I'm running Air Trigger Chill Clip. Air Trigger is just basically giving me more ammo reserves. And then Zarli's Bane. I think this is the same role, which is Explosive Payload Incandescent. But again, like I mentioned before, your super will depend on your harmonic siphon, which then would also affect whatever your primary weapon will be. So if I decided to swap this to Void, this means this weapon would have to go to a Void weapon, and whatever other element. So that would mean that even if you're running Needle Storm here, if it'll let me select it for some reason, you would have to run a strand weapon here in this slot as a primary and find some way to fill the gap in between. But I'm running Song of Flame because I do like how hard Zoe's Bane hits. And then, of course, I'm running Queensbreaker here because it's just the next thing. But overall, you can run whatever heavy you want as long as, you think you're comfortable with it. So going over to our armor mods, I already talked about Harmonic Siphon, but we're actually running hands-on. If you can fit an additional hands-on in here, go for it. It'll increase your super regen much more when actually playing this subclass and this build. My phone is going off, but I'm still going to keep going. Running double heavy-handed. This makes our orb generation cooldown on our melee 5 seconds, meaning that we're going to be able to make orbs much more quickly. And I'm running fastball just to be able to throw cold snaps much more further along. Triple resistances. I think these are the same resistances I ran throughout the Legend Lost Sector. You'll see here in a moment. So yeah. And then I'm running a singular solar weapon surge for my primary, and then I'm running innovation and invigoration, as since we're running Devour, we really don't need to run something like recuperation or better already, as we're already getting our health back. So you can swap this out for something like, insulation, or, maybe if you want to do orbs of restoration, you can. But honestly, you don't even need innovation because Devour is also going to get you grenade energy. So you could just do something like this, whatever you're comfortable with. Going on to the bond, we have Outreach and we have Powerful Attraction because Phoenix Dive is going to pick up our Orbs of Light, and Outreach is going to give us some more melee charge. So let's go over to our artifact. Our artifact has our typical every single arc thing that we could possibly pick up: Defibrillating Blast, Flash Over, De-Electric, Overclock and Load, and Photonic Flare. So pretty much all of these are going to be feeding directly into your Lightning Surge's playstyle, on top of, Bolt Charge, like hitting, striking, and then jolting, as well as healing you. Maximum Bolt Charge, you become amplified. De-Electric, Arc debuff targets grants defeating Arc debuff targets grants Bolt Charge. And this is really nice because it actually gets a boost when the Tome of Want is active. Rapid defeating Arc debuff target spawns an Orb of Power and heals a small portion of health. And of course, we have Overclock and Load. While they're amplified or have Bolt Charge, Arc Weapon gained increased handling and reload speed on top of Photonic Flare. Defeating an exhausted or severed target with an arc damage releases a blinding burst. Very convenient, by the way. And then we're also running something like Unraveling Orbs and Horde Shuttle. So Unraveling Orbs is going to give strand weapons unraveling rounds on top of Horde Shuttle, dealing damage to unraveled targets will occasionally spawn a Threadling, thus feeding more into your Threadling and Darkness gauge. The other stuff here is just Legend Incarnate, Time Lost, origin trait on the Vault of Glass weapons, or will do increased damage. Particle Reconstruction, of course, is a big must, especially since we're running Queensbreaker. Unstoppable Fusion, again, Queensbreaker, or even Scatter Signal if you're running it. Overload Machine Gun, and Piercing Sidearms. So that's about it. I'm really do enjoy this build. It reminds me a lot of Consecration, but it's a bit more aggressive in some way because thankfully you have something like Devour and Feed the Void. It's just a generally a very fun time, and I hope you guys enjoy the build and you guys enjoy the gameplay. And if you guys want to stick around, you can always like the video and you can subscribe. Always ring the bell if you want to come back often. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to say so in the comments. And so enjoy the gameplay, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.